August 15th, 1977, Ohio State University. 1:15 in the morning. A radio telescope pointed at the constellation Sagittarius picks up something that should not exist. 72 seconds of data so powerful, so impossible, that the astronomer monitoring it grabs a pen and scribbles one word in the margin of the printout. Wow. You've been told it was random. A cosmic fluke. Background noise from a dead star or a passing comet. That's the story they wanted you to believe. But here's what they didn't tell you. 3 months after that signal was detected, the printout vanished from public record. The astronomer who found it stopped giving interviews. And in 1981, a classified memo surfaced from a Pentagon subcontractor analyzing the frequency, the modulation, and the source. The conclusion was buried in 4 words. This was intentional communication. You thought the wow signal was a mystery? It's not. It was decoded, and what it said changed everything. Let's go back. 1970. The Cold War is escalating. America is listening to the stars, searching for extraterrestrial intelligence through a program called SETI. The Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio scans the sky every single night. Most of what it picks up is silence. Static. Cosmic background radiation. Then, on that August night, volunteer astronomer Jerry Ehman arrives for his shift. He's reviewing computer printouts from the previous evenings. Data when he sees it. A cyclic, narrowband, concentrated, coming from a fixed point in space. The intensity is off the charts, 30 times stronger than the background noise. It lasts exactly 72 seconds, then cuts off completely. Ehman circles the alphanumeric sequence on the printout and writes, "Wow." In red ink, the image goes viral in scientific circles. It becomes the most famous unidentified signal in history, and that's where the official story ends. They tell you it was never detected again. They tell you follow-up observations found nothing. They tell you it remains unexplained. A curiosity. A cosmic ghost. Case closed. Except none of that is true. Here's what actually happened. Within 72 hours of the detection, the data was flagged by a liaison officer embedded at Ohio State. Not a scientist, a government contractor with clearance to monitor SETI operations. The raw data was copied and sent to a facility in Maryland, specifically to the National Security Agency's Office of Signals Intelligence. Why would the NSA care about a random space signal? Because they already knew what they were looking for. You see, the wow signal wasn't the first time that frequency had been detected. It was the first time it was detected by someone outside the intelligence community. In 1974, a deep space monitoring station in Australia picked up an identical narrowband transmission. Same frequency, same modulation pattern, same source, coordinates. That signal was immediately classified. The astronomer who detected it was reassigned. The data was erased, and a protocol was put in place. If this frequency is ever detected again by civilian scientists, contain it, bury it, discredit it. 3 years later, Jerry Ehman found it, and the protocol kicked in. Now, here's where it gets darker. Between 1977 and 1981, the NSA ran the wow signal through every decryption algorithm they had. They analyzed its structure, its cadence, its mathematical properties, and they found something. The signal wasn't random electromagnetic noise. It was modulated, deliberately patterned, and coded with information. In 1980, a contractor named Dr. Paul Shepard, working under a black budget program called Project ERS, successfully isolated a repeating sequence within the transmission. The sequence corresponded to prime numbers, a universal constant, the kind of signal you would send if you wanted to prove intelligence. But here's the part that made them panic. Embedded within that sequence was a secondary layer, a countdown, not in human time, in orbital mechanics. The signal was calculating the trajectory of something, object, moving through our solar system on a path that would bring it close to Earth. Very close. The projected arrival date, according to the Decoded sequence, was June of 1980. When that memo leaked in 1985, Shepard was found dead in his home. The official, Cause: suicide. No note. No history of depression. And the memo, buried in a congressional subcommittee hearing that was sealed for 75 years. So what happened in June of 1982? Officially, nothing. But if you dig into the archives, things start to fracture. On June 9th, NORAD detected an unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. It was tracked for 11 minutes before disappearing from radar. No debris was ever recovered. No explanation was ever given. On June 12th, the Navy conducted an unscheduled deep-sea recovery operation 300 miles west of California. The mission was classified. The divers involved were reassigned 2 separate units immediately afterward. None of them have ever spoken publicly, and on June 18th, an emergency meeting was held at the White House. No official record exists, but 3 people confirmed its occurrence years later under congressional testimony. The subject of the meeting: unknown. The attendees: the President, the Joint Chiefs, the Director of the CIA, and a civilian scientist whose name was redacted from every document. 1 week later, funding for SETI was cut by 60%. The Big Ear telescope was decommissioned in 1997 and demolished in 1998. No preservation, no historical landmark status. They tore it apart and buried the pieces. Now let's zoom out. Because the WOW signal isn't isolated. In 1994, a radio telescope in Puerto Rico detected a narrowband signal from the same region of Sagittarius. It lasted 40 seconds. The data was classified within 6 hours. In 2003, Australian researchers detected another burst. Same frequency. Same source. This time, the story never even made the news. It was scrubbed before publication. And in 2017, a team of astronomers using the Green Bank telescope picked up a brief, intense transmission from the exact coordinates of the WOW signal. They submitted their findings to a peer-reviewed journal. The article was rejected. No explanation given. The pattern is clear. Every few years, something in that region of space is transmitting, and every time it happens, someone makes sure you never hear about it. So what was the WOW signal really warning us about? There are 3 possibilities, and none of them are comforting. 1. It was a navigational beacon, a signal marking the trajectory of an object or vessel moving through our solar system. If that's true, then something passed by Earth in 1982. Something we were told didn't exist. 2. It was a communication attempt, an extraterrestrial intelligence trying to make contact, and we responded by silencing everyone who heard it. Or 3. It was a warning, a countdown, a message saying, "We are coming. Prepare." And instead of preparing, we buried the evidence and pretended it never happened. Here's what keeps me up at night. The signal was directed at Earth, not broadly scattered across the galaxy. Directed. That means whoever sent it knew we were here, knew we were listening, and knew exactly when we would hear it. Think about what's been taken from you. You live in a world where the greatest discovery in human history, confirmed contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence, was suppressed. Hidden. Locked away in vaults you will never access by people who decided you couldn't handle the truth. And maybe they were right. Maybe, if the public knew that something had been decoded from the stars, that it predicted an event, that the event occurred and was covered up, maybe society would collapse. Or maybe, just maybe, we'd demand answers. We'd demand accountability. We'd demand to know what else they've hidden from us. Because if they lied about the WOW signal, what else have they lied about? What other transmissions have been received and buried? What other objects have entered our atmosphere and been explained away as weather balloons or satellite debris? The silence isn't just about one signal. It's about control. The control of knowledge. The control of reality itself. In 1997, Jerry Ehman gave one final interview before retreating from public life. He was asked if he still believed the WOW signal was extraterrestrial. His answer was careful, calculated. He said, "I believe it was real. I believe it was significant, and I believe someone knows more than they're telling." He died in 2009. The original printout, the one with his handwritten WOW in red ink, is locked in a private collection. You can't see it. You can't study it. You can't verify it, but the signal is still out there. And every few years, it comes back, repeating, waiting, warning. So the next time someone tells you we're alone in the universe, the next time someone tells you there's no evidence of contact, remember these. The evidence existed. It was decoded, and they made sure you'd never hear what it said. The wow signal wasn't random. It was a warning, and we ignored it.